Why do some of us love to visit wild places? What is it about them that keeps us coming back? Or of admiring the idea of a forbidding landscape or great expanse? I'll be discussing that topic in this video, on an icy visit to camp near the summit of one of Scotland's most photographed mountains. So join me on this journey into the sublime winter landscape of the Western Highlands.
My name's Fergus, and this is the middle of nowhere. This is probably the most photographed natural feature in Scotland. The Buachaille Etive Mor above Glencoe. It's right at the head of Glencoe Valley. And despite its popularity and me being a photographer, I have never been up it, summer or winter. So now in these icy conditions, the first real biting icy conditions of this season, I've decided to drive down here and give it a go and spend a couple of nights up on the ridge next to it. I've heard a lot about it. I've been seeing pictures of it for years, photographed it myself a few times from below, which is normally where people do it because it's easy. You don't have to go very far from the road at all to get the view with the waterfalls and stuff, which you see on lots of tourism marketing stuff and products and that sort of thing. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the summit or summit area. Because I live in the far north, it's taken me 3.5 hours to drive down here. Most people drive up here from Glasgow or Edinburgh or the Central Belt, but I'm doing the opposite. So it's getting a bit late in the afternoon, so I'm probably not going to faff around too much with the camera on the way up because I want to get up there. One thing about this that I've just noticed, of course, is that it probably won't actually take me all that long. Usually there's quite a big walk in to interesting hills in Scotland, but this one starts pretty soon after you get out of the car. So onwards and upwards. Chocolate is as hard as a rock. That's teeth breaking. Well, here we are again. Tent City, as the Adrenaline Junkie kids said in 1993's Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone. It's really cold. Last time I was in the snow, but it was hovering around freezing for the 2 days that I was there. This time, I don't have a thermometer with me, but according to the Met Office, the temperature outside at least should be hovering around -7, -8 right now. So everything is very powdery and not slushy at all. The last bit of the ascent is really steep and it's a scramble. At least
the route that I took up it was a scramble. I was following somebody else's footprints and handprints in the snow. And in the dark, it was somewhat terrifying. And I haven't had this experience for quite some time, but it was one of those times when I thought, God, I really shouldn't have done this. This is outside my comfort zone. But by then I was probably halfway up, and it was safer to just keep going up than it was to turn around and try and down scramble on that kind of terrain. So it was a real relief to get to the ridge and the safety of the ridge. When I was younger, those kinds of experiences were understandable, kind of typical regular mistakes. But now that I'm, in my late 40s and a parent to a young child, it's something which I berate myself for when it does happen very occasionally, and I don't intend to let it happen again if I can. But I'm up here for tonight and tomorrow night anyway, and tomorrow actually is supposed to be an absolutely unbelievable day. Blazing sunshine. We'll see. I mean, it's always a waiting game when it comes to forecasts in this part of the world, but it's supposed to be lovely, and I intend to make the most of it. Well, it's not the cloudless photographic paradise that the prophecy foretold. So I went up some of the way to Stub Jarrag, which is the most prominent point on the Buachaille Etive Mor, and it looked like the cloud was going to come in, so I got a few pictures from there, and now I'm going to go back to the tent and have breakfast. I've still got this evening and tomorrow morning to get the really good light. Oh, it's cold. Ever wondered how oil behaves several degrees below zero? Wonder no more. Oh, I'm not sure I can even get it out of the tube. The top of the tube is... Oh, no, there we go. Oh! Look at that. Nice. Nothing quite like hot pancakes in these kind of conditions. Nice breakfast. Well, there's a lot more cloud about than the forecast suggested, but never mind. I am taking my chances in terms of getting a view or anything like that. I wanted to talk about something which I've thought about a lot over the years, but I haven't really discussed properly in any of my videos. And it kind of hinges on the question of why I and other people are drawn to places like this. I mean, it's beautiful, yes, that's beyond a doubt. But it's not just because of the beauty that I think a lot of other people come into wild places and scary places like that. It's something much deeper than that. A couple of hundred years ago, Western civilization almost universally considered landscapes like this to be ugly. They were scary, they were dangerous, they couldn't be cultivated, difficult to control. It's just the kind of things that people wanted to avoid. As long as I can remember, I have been inexorably drawn to places which are much bigger than me, like this, much bigger than any of us. Places which are threatening, places which are beyond our control and a little bit scary. Places which make me feel small and powerless, that remind me that nature is much bigger than I am. And although this is the feeling that I was looking for, I didn't realize or reflect on it in a big way until well into adulthood, that what I was seeking was what philosophers have for a couple of centuries termed the sublime. And the sublime is that sensation that you get, which is beyond words, it's beyond beauty. It's when you're faced with a giant cliff face or a massive storm which is churning up the ocean into clouds of spray and just smashing things against the rocks, or looking up at the infinite when you have an unimaginably clear sky at night. It's awesome in the original sense of the word. That word has become overused and it's diminished its power, but awesome is the other word which would have until recently been used to encapsulate that. I've been searching for this all my life, craving those fleeting moments when I get a glimpse of the awesome, of just kind of the scale of what there is to know in nature, and I can only just barely scratch the surface of it. Well, despite the wonderfully sublime freezing cold winter wind, it's killed the battery on my phone, so it stopped recording, so I have come back and I will finish the speech here in the tent. Where was I? So this is why I climb mountains. It's why I go out and visit vast wildernesses. It's why I got into science. I've always been interested in science and nature. There are few things more humbling than spending years of your life pursuing a teeny tiny area of knowledge that nobody ever knew before, and realizing that the further you go, the more that there is to know, and you can keep digging and digging and digging, and if you project that knowledge back out onto the world at large and all of the things that you could ask questions about, you realize how Sisyphean it is to try and achieve any kind of real understanding of how things work in the world, in the universe. You could look at the rocks around here, you could put your hand on it, and just having your hand on it, you are holding something which is unimaginably greater in age than anything that we have the cognitive capacity to contemplate. Millions of human lifetimes, they've just been sitting there. I mean, of course, most of that time, the surfaces which are now exposed to the air were underground because they were covered by other bits of rock which have then been eroded away. But the structures and the crystals in the rocks themselves have been there for a ridiculous amount of time. And the experience of the sublime isn't really accommodated into today's society of commodification and control. And most of the time, before we get the chance to fall into these cognitive spaces where we think about these things, we are bombarded by ads or tweets or notifications, all of that sort of thing, which drags us back into busy all the time. There's an increasing amount of research which shows that taking time out to experience those feelings of awe and wonder and trying to dig down and get those into our lives is one of several effective antidotes to those negative aspects of what's influencing our cognition and our stress levels. You don't hear a lot of outdoorsy people using the term sublime these days to describe what they do or what they see. And I think that's a shame, because it's such an apt term for the experiences that we have and the places that we go to have those experiences. I'd be interested to hear your comments on this topic. So, put what you think about what I'm saying in the comment section below. So the next time you're outside, presented with something magnificent, spare a thought for the sublime. If you're with somebody else, spark up a conversation about it. Most people will appreciate thinking about it. I mean, when I do this with my wife, when we're looking up at the stars and think about the infinite, really, because as far as we can tell, we don't know where it all ends. She does start to tumble into crazy land and think this is just too much for my head. But I personally get a thrill from it. So try and have these conversations. It's something that I think we could do with more of in the world. Okay, I have been sheltering in the tent for a little bit, had my lunch. Now it's less than 2 hours until sunset, and it has come time to head up to the top of the Buachaille properly. But before I start to ascend the slope, I just want to tell people about my calendar for 2026. There is still plenty of time to order it before Christmas. Can't guarantee it'll arrive before Christmas, but if you order it now, you will certainly have it in time for the new year. Featuring 12 panoramic images, all my own photography from the Scottish mountains and other Scottish wilderness areas. So check it out. The link to buy it is in the description below this video. If you're not a subscriber already, then click the subscribe button. That would be much appreciated. If you know anybody who might be interested in these kinds of videos, then use the share button below and you can get a copy of the link and share the video or the channel with like-minded individuals. And finally, if you watch my videos regularly and enjoy them, maybe think about kicking back a little bit of cash via the Patreon or the Buy Me a Coffee links in the description below the video. That is a way of supporting independent creators like me who are not getting paid by sponsors or anything, in order to make the sustaining of this kind of thing more viable in the long term. It's a really nice way of helping artists through patronage. So that is in the description below. It's gone really windy, and I did go to the end, to the last point on the summit ridge, which looks down across the vast expanse of Rab Neutrino Moor, but the wind was absolutely bolting it across, so I didn't stay for long. Didn't get any pictures that I was in any way happy with, and it was a little bit dicey, to be honest. Not as dicey as scrambling up the rocks last night, but I was uncomfortable with it, so I decided to come back this way. So I'll wait here a little bit and see if the light gets any better along here. And this is a very sublime view. It is cold. Put my hood back up. I know it looks silly, but it keeps the wind off me. Well, this is what I was talking about earlier. We've got a wonderful view of the sky overhead. The Milky Way is stretching right over the top of me, tens of thousands of light years away. Just the faint glow from billions, hundreds of billions of stars, just all diffused into one faint band across the sky. Jupiter is coming up just over the horizon over there, above this frozen pond, and I can't see it with my eyes. Well, I can just, but well, right now I can't see much at all with my eyes because there's a torch shining in my face, but otherwise you wouldn't be able to see me. But I can only see a very faint band on the horizon, but the camera can pick it up as a faint aurora, northern lights off to the north. I love nights like this, when you're up on top of a mountain, all on my own, no other lights on any of the peaks off on the horizon. It's absolutely sublime. How frustrating. It was such a cold night, and here I am. I've come back up almost to the summit again to get this incredible view in the beautiful morning light. But the clouds have returned. The clouds returned just about a half hour too early. If they'd held off for another half hour, I would have had the best light in the world. That's annoying. But it is still absolutely amazing. Over there, just starting to attract some cloud, is Ben Nevis and the infamous North Face. You can glimpse on the right hand side. Up there, the highest peak in the area, I think, is Bidian Nambian, which is the only other peak within the Glen Nevis area which I've been on, actually, many years ago. Anyway, I'm pretty much finished up here. All I gotta do is go back down to the tent, have my breakfast, pack up because the weather's due to deteriorate in a few hours, and head back home. It's coming up to Christmas. Don't forget about the calendars. Still plenty of those left. Still plenty of time to order one before New Year's. I am planning to release one more video before Christmas. It's going to be a bit earlier than the usual 2-week slot because Christmas is coming up. So keep an eye out for that. And until then, enjoy the build up to the festive season. Have you got your Christmas tree up yet? Right. Yeah, I'm going to finish up. Enjoy